What's up, everyone? Well, here comes the hate mail. I can see it now. Oh, you just can't stay away from the vlogging, can you? Here we go again. Vlog, vlog, vlog. Again and again and again and again. That's not what I subscribed for, you idiots. Yeah, well, you'd have a point, actually. Because of the whole sickness thing and other stuff, I have been vlogging a little too much lately, so I'm gonna tone that back eventually. Actually, what I'd like to eventually do is have vlogs become more of a Friday night thing. So, it's Monday, so I'm not off to a good start on that. But, yeah, so, vlogging, the whole Friday Night Light thing has really resonated very well with me. So, I'm looking at making vlogs into some kind of Friday night type thing and eventually just have it be mostly a Friday night thing, unless I want to make an off-topic video about something or things along those lines. Yeah, anyways, we do... Oh, there we go. There's the elusive burp. Anyways, so we have a drink of choice, and our drink of choice is the Aldi sugarless fruit drink stuff again. This time it's the grape stuff, and it's the worst tasting stuff as far as I'm concerned. I'm trying to use this up and then stop buying it, so... It tastes somewhat like grape. It's flavored with aspartame. But, so it's artificially sweetened. But the big thing with this grape... There we go. The big thing with this grape stuff is that if you ever had flavor ice as a kid, and there was maybe a day when you drank one of those things straight instead of freezing it like you're supposed to, that's what this stuff tastes like, if I can point at it. Or I shouldn't use viewfinders to try doing this kind of stuff, but that's what this stuff tastes like. It tastes like flavor ice that hasn't been frozen. Except the sweetness is different because it's artificially sweetened. Anyways, I'm going to use that stuff up and start drinking just the lemonade and the fruit punch, or just plain water. When I get sick of this stuff, I'll just start drinking water again. So, I mean, this is pretty much what viewfinder fail. So we do have a drink of choice, and vlogging is eventually going to become a Friday night thing with the whole Friday Night Light type thing. Today is Monday, however, and the reason why I'm vlogging on a Monday is because today is a very big exception. Today is Monday, June 15th, 2015, and for me that means tonight specifically, is 15 years out of high school for me. Yeah, I know. Start cracking that "you're old" jokes. Stuff like that. My dad has already... I've already made my dad really, really depressed because I posted a picture last night from my school days, and he was like, "Oh, what are you posting this for?" I'm like, don't ask too many more questions because it'll make you feel bad. But tomorrow's 15 years out of high school for me. He was like, 15 years? Oh man, I'm getting old. Just shoot me now. So, yeah, a little sad sack humor there, but so yeah. No reunion this time around, but the 10-year reunion I think was good enough. So, really, after the first reunion, it just gets more and more depressing, because then, the first time around it's like, oh, cool, we're all adults now, and then afterwards it's like, alright, who lost their hair since last time, who's gone gray, who's died since last time, shoot, we're all getting older now, we're looking pretty sad, blah, blah, blah. So I think really the first is probably going to be the last as far as reunions go for me. So there was no 15-year reunion, maybe there'll be a 20-year one, not so sure if I'll go to that though. And my dad's actually brought up a very good point regarding high school reunions here in our modern age of social media. Do you really need to have reunions anymore if you can just friend someone on Facebook and like look at pictures of their kids, their family, stuff like that, how they're doing, things along those lines. So it's really, yes, I am using the crap top as a drink coaster. Can you even see that in the shot? Let's just, yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm using the crap top as a drink coaster. It says quite a bit about the sad state of this laptop right now. I'm trying to re-image it back to Windows 7, and it's not a very fun process so far, because Windows, the factory restore software flips out if your hard drive is smaller. So I'm probably going to use one of my images instead of the CDs I made years and years ago, because I have a smaller hard drive in there now. I took out the SSD to run it in the Toshiba, but we'll talk about that later. Anyways, as far as the whole 15 years out of high school thing goes, yeah, well, it's been interesting to think about that, but I'm probably the only person really bringing this up, the only person really keeping track, because it's not really anything that a lot of people seem to be nostalgic about. I mean, when we had our 10-year high school reunion, it wasn't even like a high school anything. We pretty much ditched the whole. We had some speeches planned and stuff. I was working with the folks who were organizing it because I was the class valedictorian. So would I give another speech or something like that? Nah, of course not. But I actually did more apologizing to folks for being such an ass during high school than anything else. It was like, yeah, bygones be bygones, but it's really good to really show how much you've changed and stuff like that. So, alright, as far as the whole high school thing goes, and this might be pertinent because maybe there's some folks that are graduating this week, and congrats. High school, I know, is kind of a hit or a miss in terms of whether people are nostalgic about it or not. I know folks are probably at least nostalgic for how they were physically back then, being in better shape as a teenager, but as far as the rest of it goes, I really don't think high school's anything that a lot of people miss. Or maybe I'm biased because I'm one of those people that doesn't. If you've seen movies like 17 Again or Hot Tub Time Machine, nostalgia is kind of a hit or miss thing, and high school in particular is a very polarizing nostalgia topic. You'll run into the people that were like star athletes, or they had a pretty girlfriend or their first car back in high school or something, and it might be something that they would go back to, but then there's people like me who are like, nope, the past can keep that crap. Except maybe for, being in as good a shape as I was when I was 16, 17, 18 years old. But even in that respect, I mean, I still had acne back then. So, matter of fact, right before graduation, oh man, the ultimate jinx, and one of many reasons why I don't go to the casino. Big, huge, red zit, front and center in the middle of my forehead. Everything that I was using to control my acne did absolutely nothing for that zit except make it worse. So it looked like I was some kind of like Eastern guru or something with the thing in the middle of my forehead. Like, oh look, there's the guru, the valedictorian, etc. I probably could have broken down and used some face makeup, but I didn't even know about like use of makeup with like television or something along those lines. So I think even my graduation picture has a big dot in the middle of my forehead. So. Yeah, as usual, I have no luck, and I had to give a speech because I was valedictorian, and I was the main speech except for the motivational speaker. The whole valedictorian thing isn't something I really have really ham up, because it was cool to win that award, and it was good to develop a work ethic, but other than that, I really think there's some stuff in high school that I probably could have done better. It's, first off, one thing at a time here. I'm one of those people that's not very nostalgic for high school because I was picked on all 4 years. It's not really a good thing to be going to school with the younger brothers, and it wasn't really a good thing, I should say, to be going to school with the younger brothers and sisters of the grunge kids, where having any self-esteem whatsoever got you picked on, and so I did because I wanted to actually do well, and whereas folks were like mincing around in flannels going, I'm a loser, I'm not gonna amount to anything, I suck. Listening to a little too much Alice in Chains or something like that, or Soundgarden, or some of the other like sad sack rock songs that were all over the rock stations back then and things like that. Shoot, we didn't even have Nickelback back then, and Limp Bizkit was just becoming a thing towards the end of it. There were a couple of, but even that, some of that was like depressing stuff, like the whole Rearranged song and stuff like that, and break stuff, and yeah, sad sack angst music was way too popular in my high school. And but hey, this is the 90s we're talking about. It may have been late 90s, but the younger brothers and sisters of the grunge kids kept the angst going very, very much, very well. And if you wanted to do anything with your life, nerd, teacher's pet, kiss up, brown noser, and so for 4 years straight, I got picked on nonstop. Oh man. Still won lots of awards. So many awards that I was getting called the award hog right before graduation. And some of them were like statewide awards, or I went out and met the governor and stuff like that too. And the good news is, amidst all of that though, is that eventually my ability to go to a 4-year private college and do college the traditional way, 4 years, right after high school was largely due to how well I did in high school. I kind of hit the jackpot on financial aid because there's two kinds of financial aid, need-based and merit-based, and I qualified heavily for both, being from a poor part of Connecticut and having done well in high school. So it actually got the cost of going to a 4-year private business school down to the cost of going to UConn, basically. Except without the big lecture halls, small actual real classrooms and stuff. Smaller classrooms, approachable professors, a very focused business curriculum, and I went in as a CIS guy, and actually I've been finding the value of a mix of tech and business ever since graduation. Because I've worked with so many technicians that don't look at the big picture. They just get all hung up on the technology and not how it applies to the business. I mean, I had some of that today. I actually had a supervisor pass me along some stuff because it had too much tech jargon for her taste. And I was like, you know, this is probably stuff that you know what it is, you just don't know the official term for it, and these people are trying to look like nerds. Like, for example, we're getting some new systems in our warehouses, and one of the functional documents is talking about a database schema, and I'm like, this is how the new system is going to connect to our existing system. That's all it is. Just a diagram of what connects to what and how it exchanges information with our existing system. And then they actually went to the trouble to spell out graphical user interface, even though there was a program in the DCs that we were involved in years ago that was called the GUI. So that's what it means, graphical user interface. Like, yeah, basically it's what it's going to look like when somebody, you know, goes to use the machines. And then host interface is mumbo jumbo for what it's going to look like when you're administering the server or trying to do something on the leadership side of it all. She's like, oh, what are they doing all that jargon for then? Like, and this is why I use informal language when talking about computers. Instead of referring to the cursor, I call it the pointer or the arrow thing. You know, I'll actually call things, you know, what they are instead of their official title, because I work with a bunch of folks that hate technology, so they wouldn't know anyway, so you might as well dump the jargon. And I actually am more worried about insulting people's intelligence than confusing them when I talk to them about tech, because I'll run into somebody who knows what a cursor is, and they're like, yeah, I know what that is. They're like, oh shoot, I'm used to working with people who hate computers. But this isn't about work. This is about high school and nostalgia or lack thereof. So yeah, I don't have any great fondness for high school, and one of the problems with getting picked on is that I started responding to it, and I eventually became a real jackass. So I basically created a feedback loop of I was kind of snotty, and then they were snotty right back, and we kind of built up the drama until graduation. So never wound up getting suspended for any of it. It wasn't that bad, but or even winding up in detention for anything. It was just a matter of they gave me a hard time. So, but the thing is, I actually had some very good people in the churches I was involved with back then, who with the youth group and stuff that I was involved in, allowed me to actually have friends as a teenager, just not in the context of my high school or anything like that. Matter of fact, I've got a little something for the little nostalgia discussion. Off camera over here. The chair's getting stuck. It's a big heavy chair. This chair is designed for how much I used to weigh. So, anywho, this is actually not my yearbook, but it's my scrapbook from around high school graduation. It's a Jostens, etc. 2000. Looks great, actually. Really looks great. Actually, looks better than our real yearbook. So it looks better than our real yearbook. Folks thought this was the yearbook, and I was like, no, it's just something I ordered, just a cute little scrapbook thing. I had all kinds of stuff in here. I've got the cards that I got when I graduated, and people signed this in addition to my real yearbook. Some people were pretty mad at me because they were like, I already signed your other book. So it's interesting, you know, looking back at some of this. Like, for those of you who follow my tech videos, check this out. Our best times are in shop, which for me was electronics. All the 500 megahertz Pentium 3s are fully networked, so we can play tons of multiplayer games like StarCraft. The computers are definitely something. 500 megahertz Pentium 3s on a local network in the building only, no internet access. But they weren't locked down very much. They were running Windows 98, so folks were constantly bringing in the Doom shareware for Windows 95 and the StarCraft demo CD from Computer Gaming World and stuff like that. We always laugh at people whose computers crash, stupid jokes, freshmen, stupid teachers, stupid students, stupid anything, and we even laugh at ourselves when we act stupid. A little bit of an alliteration going on there. Let's see. Best friends, let's see here. Good for you. It used to be something like that. Let's see here. There was actually someone that got hit by a train when we were in high school, so that was the low point of a lot of it. So let's see here. I'm sick or tired to people who accusing athletes from being all muscle but not brain. This is now press conference over. It's an old cartoon from back then. All right, let's actually find something a little bit more constructive here. Let's see here. Music I used to listen to. You don't want to hear about that. Moving right along. So this is funny because this is a great example of how one of the things that college kind of how college supersedes high school. But here comes the weekend. On weekends, I sleep until almost noon. I thought that was an achievement back then. Yeah. My favorite weekend thing is sleep. I can actually get up at a decent time, and it's the only time I can relax and be myself for once without having all those titles, because I was teacher's pet. I won a bunch of awards, valedictorian, stuff like that. Although really it was a side effect of wanting to do well, which goes back quite a ways. Look, some pictures I photoshopped back in 1999, like to make one of the popularity queen divas or whatnot look like a space alien, or Queen Elizabeth or something like that, like one of those old royalty pictures of British royalty. Alright, what do we have here? Oh, more stuff about partying. I used to think that staying up till 1 in the morning was an accomplishment. Totally superseded that in college when I was routinely up till 3 to 5 in the morning because studying at night was the best time to study. Everything was all quiet if people weren't partying, and if they were, stay in the academic buildings because they stayed open 24/7 so the custodian crew could clean them up overnight. But for the most part, unless a classroom had a lot of tech in it, it would usually stay open and you could go and use the computer and do research and stuff like that. Let's see here. Ooh, Y2K party. Everybody was blasting music and playing N64 on a old-fashioned, non-HD big screen TV with a hack job speaker system. And of course, one of my friends back then, he wondered why his CD deck kept skipping when he put it on top of the subwoofer. But yeah, 15 years ago, man, and I got some scrapbook type stuff from like little things that were going around in people's email back then and stuff like that. Heck, I even got my valedictorian speech, which is cheesy as all heck. Okay, well, let's see if I can read this without blushing all over the place. I'm honored to present to you the class of 2000. This class stands tall in the great opening of the information age. Okay, maybe I'll go into like, let's go into like a TV announcer mode for some of this. Okay, let's see if I can still see if the old man still got it here. Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2000. This class stands tall in the grand opening of the information age. Computers, technology, and other great advances are all around us, with some innovations yet to be discovered. So egotistical, man. This gives prestige to a class that has already been singled out to be something special, a little more than the run-of-the-mill. For many years, the world has watched in both anticipation and suspense to see exactly what the class of 2000 would bring to pass in this world, and that great moment has finally arrived. Standing at the pinnacle of a great age of technological advances, the class of 2000 stands ready for anything. Then what has happened since 2000? We've had iPods become a thing, iTunes become a thing, MMOs become a thing, iPhones become a thing. The entire mobile revolution was still many years off from when I gave this speech about how, oh, we're so awesome. Actually, the director of my high school said afterwards, were you trying to compete with the motivational speaker we hired to be your main speaker at your graduation? I'm like, hey, why not? Let's let the ego trip continue here. After tonight, this class will never again be together under one roof. However, we are confident that the class of 2000 will leave a legacy unmatched by any other. I trust that this group of graduates here tonight has made a mark here at this school that cannot be erased. So many people were probably cracking up because there were some really interesting shop pranks because it was a technical school, so Day one, fire alarms, no drill. Folks in masonry messed up a chimney, but there actually was one really nasty prank where we tricked this guy into cutting the hot wire on a light switch with a pair of cutting pliers. We unscrewed the faceplate in the theory room, which is like a classroom, connected to the shops and stuff, and we unscrewed the faceplate. Said, "Hey, you remember black is cold and white is hot, right?" "Oh yeah." It's actually the other way around. Snip, zzz, boom! His diagonal cutters flew across the room, and the power to a third of the school went out. They were running outside. Who killed the power? Who popped the breakers to a third of the school? And we're like, it's got to be these new soldering irons. They're drawing too much power. These Weller stations are shorting out. So I'm sure that some folks were cracking up when I said mark that cannot be erased. Alright, what do we have here? We have worked hard and diligently to get to where we are tonight. Yeah, really? And each one of the graduates here should be highly commended for their accomplishments. These young men and women present here tonight are not here by accident. It took a lot for each one of us to get here. Each one of us has our own unique story to tell about what exactly it took to get in these caps and gowns, and we all have one thing in common. We came, we saw, we conquered, and now we graduate. Not too long ago, we would have been just little children standing here tonight. Now, in the course of only a few years, these little children have grown up into young men and women ready for the adult world. It is with this one thing in mind that the class of 2000 now looks to the future, forgetting the past and pressing forth into that which lies ahead. You see, class of 2000, we can't change the past, but we can transform the future. When we were children, we talked like children, we acted like children, we reasoned like children. We did everything like a child. Now that we have grown up, we now put childish things aside and look to what the future holds. Yeah, right. By the way, that's a partial ripoff of a passage from the New Testament that was like, when I was a child, I thought as a child, I spoke as a child, blah, 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 blah. Couldn't even think of anything original, could ya, me from 15 years ago? Well, then again, the me of 15 years ago was an egomaniac who was riding high on being first in the class, and teacher's pet, and nerd, and going to a good college, and yeah. No excuse, ego is never an excuse to treat people like crap. Anyways, let's see, where was I? Doo-dah. This is our chance to make history. Let's not pass it up. Class of 2000, settle for no less than your very best. The world is watching. Thank you and farewell. A bit of a nod there to Crimson Tide as well, except I didn't mention putting a boot up anybody's ass. Skills USA, National Honor Society, a bunch of folks signed the sports page because we didn't have as much of a sports program back then as the school does right now. So, top 10 students. It was pretty interesting that I actually didn't even know who the salutatorian was, and it was actually a shy guy that never even tried to be all, bravado and stuff like that. So, doo-dah. The best thing about being a senior is everyone else is a bunch of peons. Juniors, sophomorons, and itty-bitty froshies all bow to the senior class machine. Even some of the teachers will play blind man's bluff to you because they want to see you graduate and get the heck out of there. It's fun being on top, but enjoy it while you can, because come June, it's sayonara. Well, let's see. The day I'll remember best, a senior trip to Hampton Beach, actually. Oh, man, what was it? Where the heck was it? It's like New York or something? Or I don't even remember where that was. A bunch of folks carried our class diva, one of the hairdressers, blonde hair, blue eye, amazing looking. They carried her all the way to the waves and pile drove her into the ocean. No, I'm trying to get it, boosh, right into the water. I actually ran into somebody who recognized my college t-shirt. It's like, hey, I'm going to that school in the fall as well. Never saw him again afterwards. I skipped the trip to Montreal because I know a lot of folks were going on that trip to go drink in Canada. So, there's a page for senior photographs that's still blank. Well, maybe one of these years I'll fill that in. Or maybe I should leave it blank just for the heck of it. Let's see here. Oh yeah, the prom section. June 15th, 2000, 94 people in the graduating class. And then I have a list of people who transferred out. I have a list of people who transferred out of the school and went back to their regular high schools and stuff like that. Oh yeah, when I graduated, I got a graphing calculator, which I lost, so I'm 0 for 2 with keeping graphing calculators around. A watch and $1,500 from Dad, and I thought that was a lot of money. So, what now? Da-da-da. This is some... Oh, my dad was like, get used to getting old. Quickly! Ay, 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 ay. Of course, I was putting down, I'm going to be a computer programmer and make 50,000 plus. Then the outsource epidemic happened. Da-da-da-da-da. I will travel to Florida, Washington State, the Caribbean, and anywhere else when the opportunity presents itself. So far, New York. New York, New Jersey, and Rhode Island. And Massachusetts, and Ohio and Florida eventually for business trips, but I don't know when that's happening. My friends will become my customers, clients, business associates, or employees. Yeah. And then there's a bunch of new millennium stuff because of the whole Y2K thing, and oh, cool. High school pranks. I think I'll put this on Facebook, though. It's too personal. You really would have had to have gone to my school to crack up about this. Like, well, the prank I mentioned earlier, where snipping the hot wire and blowing out the power of the whole high tech wing. Oh, let's see if any of you folks resonate with any of this too while we're at it. This is getting kind of long for a vlog, anyways, but. We had folks that used to play hacky sack. Of course, we used to all play hacky sack, and some jackass would always find a way to punt a hacky sack up on the school roof, and somebody found a way to climb the roof and get the hacky sack. There was another guy, folks were throwing a football outside when we were on break or lunch or something like that, and then another person who found his way onto the roof actually jumped off the roof after retrieving the football, and he didn't get hurt. The things you can do as a teenager when you're still invincible. Let's see. We had one of the good-looking hairdresser folks forget to tuck in her shirt during machine tool, and it kind of got sucked into the machine and ripped off. Let's see here. There was one time we had a teacher who was in a really bad mood, so one of the guys in my class came and was like, "Hi!" And she was like, "Get out of here, go to the principal's office." Yeah, I don't know. Let's see, what other stuff. Is there anything that I should actually say on here that wouldn't be too, like, inside baseball? Oh yeah, there was another guy who said hi to the wrong teacher and got suspended. Let's see. Oh yes, because this is another one of those things. Because it was a vocational school, there were folks that were sneaking like pieces of metal out of the shop and wire from the electrical shop and stuff, and somebody took some like 14 or 12 gauge grounding conductor and like rigged it into one of the desks so it twanged like a banjo. So here we are, in the middle of doing work in class. I'm like, twang, and one of the girls in the class was like cracking up so much she eventually had to step outside because she couldn't stop laughing. The teacher was like, "What the heck is that?" Let's see here. Oh yeah, we tried building power supplies freshman year in electronics, and some of us paid less attention to the wattage than others, so they would get like a half-watt resistor instead of a 2-watt like the schematic called for, and they get a little puff of smoke, and the thing wouldn't work. Then there was one guy, he wired the transformer in backwards, so instead of stepping down the 120 volts to 12 volts, it stepped it up to 1200 volts. Zzz. Boom! Big cloud of smoke. The whole shop smelled like bacon for hours afterwards. Whoops! And it's fried, it's like fried electronics bacon, not like real bacon for a bacon smell. Let's see, we had a hippie burnout teach a geometry class when, and he was so brain dead. This guy actually, we put some mayonnaise on the phone, then someone called the school from a cell phone, which was rare at the time, and I picked it up and he got mayonnaise all over his beard. So it's, yeah. There was another guy too, he brought in some fishing worms and he'd lick them and flick them. So he'd stick a bunch of fishing worms to the ceiling and the teacher wouldn't even notice. Same guy also, we had this math teacher who wasn't all that paying attention all that much, and there was room at a whiteboard with dry erase markers. He'd sneak over to the whiteboard, take a marker back to his desk and set the tip on fire, and it would burn like a candle. There was one time he did that at his desk and he blew it out and brought it back without the teacher even noticing. Yeah, she was that out of it. And she tried writing with it. She was like, how come this isn't working? So, yeah. There was another time, too, where two classrooms, they had windows facing each other. The school was shaped like a horseshoe. So we were in, like, some study hall or something, and our teacher stepped out. So someone hopped on the school phone, dialed the extension of the class across the way, pranked the teacher a couple of times. It was a little high-strung, so she didn't take it very well. Yeah. What else do we got here? Let's see, there was a freshman that we got to spit on a teacher he couldn't stand's car. I already mentioned first day freshman year, fire alarms, no drill. Food wrappers in the cafeteria being used to make squeaking noises in all the classes in the afternoon. Let's see here. Two guys got suspended because big, tall basketball player guy was piggybacking on a fat guy with a lot of muscle. Teacher thought they were fighting, both got suspended. Dry erase markers on fire, the Skills USA fast, 2 in the morning, someone bounced a basketball across the gym where we were sleeping and nailed one of the teachers in the head. Oops! Guy going nuts, running around the cafeteria with a whole water cooler trying to drench somebody. Yeah. Then prom time rolled around, I almost helped someone. It was this girl I was going to school with. She was having trouble finding a date. I almost hooked her up with a 25-year-old guy, and then the biggest nerd in the school afterwards, which wasn't me, actually. But okay, this is all stuff. Oh, yeah, and there's another time where one of the stronger guys in our class just ripped open the door. So he's ripped open the door. Hey, what are you doing in here? This classroom was locked. Do you want to get charged with breaking and entering? The rest of this is really stuff that, there was, then of course the shop next door to us, which is more electromechanical in nature, tried to dig a tunnel through the roof of the adjoining classroom into our shop, but they didn't get very far because the drop ceiling tiles wouldn't support their weight, and they didn't want to drill too much. Alright, a lot of this stuff is inside, the rest of this stuff is all inside baseball, but alright. As far as nostalgia goes, would I go back? The answer is no, of course not. I would probably cherry pick. I'd go back to how I was physically back then, but I wouldn't actually go back. And I think that's probably what a lot of us would really say, but we're getting low on drink here, so let's chug the rest. Let's call it a vlog and say, yeah, 15 years out of high school? Nah. College kind of superseded it for me, and as far as the other stuff goes, would I go back? No. I'd rather leave that drama in the past. I've got a lot of interesting stuff going on now, and I've had interesting stuff go on with college and post-college and stuff like that. I can't say I'm the biggest nostalgic type person when it comes to high school, so, yeah, right. And, of course, I'm probably the only nerd really keeping track of this stuff, so it's time to log on to social media and see how many people are like, wait, what? We've been out for 15 years? See if anybody even gives a rat's ass. It's time to chug the rest of this and call it a vlog. Actually, no. I've already established that I'm an epic fail of a chug-a-lug guy, so let's just down the rest of it. I'm not going to slam it down because I don't want to break the laptop that I'm using as a coaster. So I hope this wasn't too rambly and too long for your tastes, but this will be it for the vlogs for a bit. I actually have ideas for videos in the other series that I want to get to work on, including some that I've got the idea from the comments. Folks are looking for certain types of videos. So, anyways, till next time, this is MultimediaJay, now an old geezer who's been out of high school for 15 years, signing off. Thanks for stopping by.